So, when I ask, what is Odoo? What comes to mind? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But some people also say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. I mean, whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So, what is Odoo? Well, I guess Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it. Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media. Welcome back to In Studio with Kimberly Lovey. You guys, today I am joined by two of my dream team members. Now, this is not the full team, but two of my wonderful team members, Yvette Inclon and Seth Hauer. And they are coming on. We're going to talk all about how they are working with me, what their roles are in my company. And we're going to just play a little get to know you, mix it up. And as you guys know, we have a lot going on behind the scenes within studio. So with this podcast, we are in the middle of construction on my actual studio in Westlake Village. And I'm just so excited to take you guys on the journey with me. You guys are going to see a lot of changes. Now, today we are filming in studio, but it's not in my studio. So it is not going to be the normal set that you'll see, but it is a studio nearby, and it will be available to you on YouTube to watch us if you want to check us out, see what we look like. And yeah, we're really looking forward to just really expanding the show. We're adding segments. We're adding so many fun things. And I appreciate you guys being so patient with me and all of the changes going on. But I think you're going to have a great time getting to know Yvette and Seth. They are literally amazing people, and you will be seeing more of both of them. So thank you so much for listening, for watching on YouTube. We also give you a little bit of behind the scenes in terms of some of the celebs we've been working with, things like that. So hopefully it's a little bit juicy for you, just a little bit juicy, not too much juice. We don't want to give away too much. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and enjoy the episode. Welcome back, everyone, to In Studio with Kimberly Lovey. I am joined by two of my most favorite people that I am texting, talking, and emailing with pretty much 24/7 at this point. So I have Yvette Inclon.
Hello.
And I have Seth Hauer.
Hi.
And they are part of my dream team.
Yay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So I bullied my team into coming in to chat with me because, well, one, I wanted to check out a different podcast studio that was out there. Shout out to this fabulous studio that we're in today. But also, I just wanted to brag about my incredible team that we're building here at Iconic Nation Media. So, okay. First of all, let's talk about briefly your roles at the company, right? Or like kind of your backgrounds, right? So basically, what did we give you your title? It was
Director of Content Strategy.
Thank you. Director of Content Strategy. I think that has a nice ring to it, by the way.
I love it.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I say basically you're like
The
Head of production.
our head of production, right? So yeah, I have powerhouses here. And just through referral, I got to meet you guys, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So basically any cool video or anything on YouTube, any of our like big shows that you see, that is Seth and his team running it. Any good content, whether it's my social media or any of the shows, that's Yvette.
Yay.
In short,
Yes.
right? Anything
We
like
make
that.
a good team.
Yes, we do.
It's a good division.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And also, I kind of bullied them into working with me and for the first time working in podcasting. So we're going to talk all about that later. But first, before we dive into all of our fun conversation, I wanted the audience to get to know a little bit about you and just your professional background. We'll keep it like profesh for now. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So Seth, where did you come from? Who are you?
Well, I'm from small town rural Pennsylvania. I went to film school in New York and have always been an aspiring filmmaker. I got my start working as an unpaid intern in indie features, and now I currently work as a production coordinator at Lionsgate. A lot of steps in between.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I've been in LA for about 13 years now, in New York 7 years prior. And yeah, what I love about LA is just meeting a lot of new people who do varied things in the industry. So that's been
And
good.
what do you tell the people? Don't be humble, because I find that you're very soft-spoken and you're very mild-mannered and you're very calm, which is the perfect yin to our yang, right?
Yeah.
But can you brag a little bit about some of the stuff you do at Lionsgate?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a great job. I work on the feature side primarily now, but I got my start in TV working on some of my favorite HBO shows. I worked on Boardwalk Empire was my first big gig in New York, and out in LA I worked on Looking and Girls and other Lena Dunham pilots. So I have a lot of experience like working on the ground with artists and showrunners. And my job at Lionsgate is a little more physical production minded. So we're the team that evaluates the scripts from the creative development team, and we break them down and decide where the production plan could be, where we could film it, how much it'll cost, when we can do it. And yeah, we're very instrumental in the greenlight process.
Wow. And so you guys actually go find places globally, right?
Globally, yeah, we're always kind of chasing incentives. Things cost different things in different parts of the world. And so like that's a big part of our job right now is having a good beat on where the incentives are in the world and also what could work creatively for the film.
What does that mean, incentives, for those of us that don't really understand?
Incentives are, it's like money that you get back from a local territory that incentivizes you to film there. So Canada, for instance, has like a 25% to 35% labor incentive. So you get money back on the Canadian labor that you're spending. And that's true of a lot of other territories in the world and different parts of the US.
Local labor? That
Local
you would
labor.
have to hire folks locally? Is that what that is?
It is.
Okay.
But some countries like Italy, you can actually run your talent through their incentive program. As long as you're paying them from an Italian company, your actors, you can get money back on that as well.
Well, I would like to just personally volunteer to join
Very
you in
nerdy.
Italy. I have no talent, no skill. I can't sing. I can't act.
Me neither.
But I'm a good time gal. So, you know, if you want, like, I don't know, like a stand-in, I'm
Yeah.
down for Italy. I'm just putting it out there into the universe.
The next scouting trip, I will recruit you.
Yes. Oh, and then I can get a credit or whatever, however
Yeah.
that works. I don't really know, but anyway.
You would definitely get it. Top billing.
Okay, Miss Yvette. I know we're making you okay. Poor sweet Yvette is just. I have roped her into just like Seth. I roped her into all my antics.
It's been a whirlwind.
Whirlwind. And I found Yvette through MJ, Mercedes Javid,
Yes.
for our show Heel to Feel that we all work on, by the way. Shout out Heel to Feel, MJ and Liat. That show's crushing. But I know we're making you nervous. How are you
Yes.
feeling? Are you okay? Do you need a deep breath?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, you look great. Thank you so much for putting up with me and coming here.
Oh, of course. I love it.
Okay. Can you share with folks a little bit about your background, professional background?
Sure. So I grew up in Los Angeles County over in Cerritos. Then my undergrad was at Long Beach State, and I majored in marketing. And that is, I am a true marketer from beginning to end. Even in elementary school, whenever we had to take those like aptitude career tests, it always said marketing. So I have always dreamed of this kind of position and role. I first started at Fox on Fox Networks on the B2B side of marketing. And then from there, the last few years have been really working as the marketing leg for small businesses, enhancing their digital presence as well as their branding. And we met through MJ. I know her because my cousin used to live in her building. So I've known her for over 20 years. I know her parents. and all her past doggies. So that's kind of how we met.
That's so random. So like she would be like schlepping groceries, and you're like, "Oh, hey, do you need a hand?"
Well,
and,
this
like,
is before. This is Mercedes Javid. This is not MJ.
Yeah, I want to unpack. Like, what does that look like living in her MJ's building?
Well, my cousin lived with her, so we would just kind of have fun. I mean, it was like the Sunday fun days at the pool, or random knocking when we were like having cocktails. We would knock on each other's doors. We used to run the hallways of the apartment building. Definitely before MJ. But
MJ.
Yeah, exactly.
We are sure of that.
Yeah, but she's exactly like you see on TV. So I did think that me giving her advice, telling her not to do reality TV was a good idea. But no, she's great. And I'm just so happy for where she's at. I was even on her pod, Till the Dirt, with Tommy. We did a rewatch of Shaw's. So I was able to be on that pod. But since this is about me, I'm a little nervous.
Oh no, you're doing amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
That's great. I had no idea that you guys knew each other.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
I've known her for a very long time.
Yeah,
she's great.
She kept being like, "I have this great girl that would be great for our social." I'm like, "Send her over. Send her
really
over."
Perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
Literally perfect. Like I from the second you started, I was like, "Done. You're in. I'm bringing you to everything."
Because you're definitely filling in a gap when it comes to my technical expertise. I really have a blind spot for social media. I consume it, but have no idea how it's made.
Oh, I love everything about it. Except for being in front of the camera. So I guess go figure,
well,
right?
I am pushing you out of your comfort zone.
I know you are.
But it's true. Like the social media piece is something that I personally underestimated coming from more of like a corporate background. My husband is so funny. He runs multiple businesses, and his thing was like social media is for teenagers. And I'm like, you have businesses and you're missing out.
Yeah.
And so I finally got somebody on his social. But yeah, so the social media thing is a ton of work. I don't think people realize how much work it is, how much skill is involved.
It's definitely something we talk about in the halls of Lionsgate about that's where the future is skewing towards short form content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we have been blowing up our YouTube. You've been blowing up the shorts. I didn't even really know what all that was. It's essentially like reels and
exactly
on YouTube.
Less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, but I love that you love it because honestly, I don't. And I find a lot of my clients don't really love it.
It's always an afterthought. It's always like, oh, we should have done these things or we should have done that. Whereas that's all I think about right now. I'm like, oh, we could do so many good like reels. And I have ideas for us to do later if you guys are down.
Yeah, we're so down. We're so down. I'm going to pimp out my friend Seth here.
Exactly.
I almost called you my boyfriend because I was like, oh my God, your boyfriend's going to get mad at me. My work boyfriend. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. Or girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. You know how it goes. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so, but I was just going to say on the social media thing though, is I really love that you love it. Like your passion for it is like a relief to me because I don't really have, like, I know how to do it. I just don't fully enjoy it.
Right.
And what happens is, because you just made this comment about it being the afterthought, is what happens is it's really the last step to getting your brand, whether your product or service, whatever it is you're doing. In our case, it's podcasts out there. And it's like something that is the afterthought until it's out in the world. And then all of a sudden it's like the most important thing that ever happened.
It really is like the connective tissue between the content product and the media consumer. So
1,000%. So we are so blessed that you have joined our team.
Thank you.
And so don't go anywhere.
Not only joining the team,
but
maybe moving.
Not maybe.
That's true.
Wait, don't tap dance around this. Okay, wait. You got to let our friends in that don't know what's going on.
Right. I actually haven't even told my family, so this
okay.
is
Well, they're about to find out.
I have decided to leave West Hollywood after. I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but after 19 years, lived in a few studios, and my last spot I've been in will be about 14 years. I have decided to move out to the Valley. I don't know why I said that so slowly.
Bum, bum, bum.
Well,
Dramatic
a different
music.
valley, not the boring valley. No.
Well, actually, let's unpack that for 1 second. I just want to get really, because I grew up out here, right?
You're right. Yes.
So I get very, not offended, but rubbed the wrong way when people call me a Valley girl, because I'm like, when you hear about the Valley,
it's like North
it's
Hollywood.
The San Fernando Valley, where we are located, which is the valley beyond the valley.
Yeah.
It's called the Conejo Valley.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
That's where we are, and we're just over the hill from Malibu and down the street from Calabasas. So Anyway.
Yes, it's not the valley over the hill from West Hollywood that we would refer to.
That's exactly right. When you, like that show, The Valley.
Yeah, they're in Sherman Oaks. They're in
Valley
Burbank.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Studio City. I don't know where they live.
So we're roping you out here. Why?
For you, for this, actually. Since,
For us.
Yes. I am going to be a part of your dream. I'm so excited. This is something I've always envisioned being a part of. And it just really worked out. And then you and I working together kind of just fit. And then Scary Sherry, I was at the taping for Leod and MJ's pod, and she came up to me and basically said that she knew that this was going to be the right position for me without even me saying anything to her or asking anything.
I didn't say anything to her either.
Exactly. Well, she didn't, and she just came up to me and she gave me a few things. She talked about things that I was shocked, and I was crying. I don't know if you remember, but before the filming, I started crying. So that's when I kind of knew, like, even before you had brought it up, but that's when I kind of knew, I'm like, okay, maybe this could be a good next step. I've worked from home, so I could, now this is the first time it's nice to be in person. But for the most part, I've worked from home, and I could have always wanted to stay in LA County per se because of my family, my parents. And so now that things have changed, kind of just ready to start something new.
Yeah. And also for context, Scary Sherry, so there's a little backstory there, just to unpack that for a second. So our show, Heal to Feel, if you guys haven't seen or heard it, it's spirituality and wellness podcast. And they have like the top healers, that they can find. And Leod is obsessed with, finding Reiki experts and mediums and psychics and all the healers for anything, mind, body, soul. And so what happened was, what she's saying is we were filming that day with Jeff Lewis, and because Jeff apparently talks about her all the time too, right? From what I understand.
Correct.
And so everybody was like, oh my God, who is this Scary Sherry woman? And so she comes out and she starts giving me a reading before we're shooting. And then she just walks right up to Yvette. And next thing I know, I walked away because I'm like, this is their thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what she said to you.
Right. I haven't really shared it. I've shared what she said about you.
Yeah.
In regards to my future.
Right. So I guess Sherry picked up on the fact that we were going to be working together. So you knew before I knew, actually.
Well, no, she knew before we both knew. Because I didn't know what
she
was
let
referring
us know.
I didn't know what she was referring to until,
What did she say about Seth?
No.
Is he still?
No, we actually.
did you guys
Did you meet?
We didn't. We met.
Did you get a reading?
I didn't get a reading, but we just talked kind of about religion in general and all the practices that she follows.
Yes, I heard a little bit of
her perspective on God. A lot of which her beliefs I share.
She's more spiritual, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of how I am too, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was funny. It was my first time meeting Yvette, and Sherry's kind of wandering around, and all of a sudden I look over in the corner, and Yvette has tears streaming down her face. We're like, uh-oh.
You're like, first day on the job isn't doing too well.
No. I was like,
just to add clarity around that for you, you don't have to get into this at all.
Yeah.
But just for the fine folks. Yvette and I also bonded because I lost my mom. My listeners already know this. Yeah. I lost my mom just in October. My mom was my best friend. It was like the biggest loss of my life. And Yvette similarly lost both her parents. So the second we uncovered that, we both were like trauma bonded. And we were like, oh my God, you understand what hell we just went through.
Yeah.
And what we are continuing to go through, which was probably going to be a different episode because that's a whole other journey. But I'm not trying to make everyone cry today.
Yeah. I don't feel like
today
crying today.
We put on a face, And so, let's dive into some fun stuff. Okay, so I have a question. I have a little outline which I prepared. Yay. I know it's very professional. You guys are impressed.
I appreciate it.
Yes. So we want to talk a little bit about the chaos and creativity of podcasting. So this is a little bit of fun behind the scenes because a lot of folks out there have no idea what's involved with podcasting, and we're going to just scratch the surface. But I'm going to ask you guys, so what are some fun behind the scenes moments? So I guess we're kind of talking about some of them.
Yeah.
Some either technical mishaps or favorite episodes that we've co-created or just unexpected challenges. Anything that jumps into your minds that you can share?
I think for me, I'm more surprised on how all of the hosts don't like to hear their own voice and are all very embarrassed and constantly ask for affirmations and was that okay? Me thinking all these podcast hosts are outgoing, lively, and just love being, the front person. But actually, none of them do. And that was surprising for me.
So I love to hear my own voice.
Your husband's probably
I got over
like,
that super fast.
Yeah.
Because when I released my podcast, I thought I would be like that.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, "Oh, you have such a nice
You
voice
do
for
have a nice voice.
podcasting." And
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, I thought my voice was going to be so annoying. This is great." So then once I got comfortable, now I'm like used to it.
Yeah.
But yes, that is common where a lot of like my folks that come on that, we're launching their shows, they have that feeling. But like who specifically was like more uncomfortable than you would have thought? I have somebody I can say, but I want to hear you guys had
I
someone.
really feel, besides MJ says she's not scared to be,
She doesn't
care.
MJ doesn't give it
No.
rats, what.
So
We can swear,
That's
by
why
the way.
we love her.
Yeah, I know.
exactly. That is why we love her. I just feel like in every meeting we've had, every host has mentioned that this is not, that they're uncomfortable with listening to themselves or rewatching themselves. Who were you thinking?
It's kind of reassuring, I would say, whenever you see the vulnerability and
Yes.
the endearing level of insecurity that we all probably share,
Yeah.
embodied by someone who's just a powerhouse podcast host.
Yep.
You're like, yeah,
Oh,
we're all the same. Yeah.
Then
it's
for sure,
humanizing.
probably Jeff Lewis. I felt
Yeah.
he was a little nervous, but of course, it was the first time I've met him in person. I've been a fan of his, but I felt like he was a little nervous, kind of reading the room and trying to understand who everyone was. I'm assuming, was impressed by, Leon and MJ and, them doing this pod for themselves. But in general, I felt he seemed a little nervous to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's so crazy about Jeff because I did not realize what a big fan base Jeff Lewis has.
Yes.
For those of you that don't understand, I guess he has the second biggest show on Sirius, probably
After
second
Howard.
to Howard Stern.
Yeah.
He has a cult-like following.
The chumps.
The-
I am one.
I remember MJ's texting me something about that chumps or whatever, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. But
Is that the nickname for his followers?
Yes.
yeah, I don't have a nickname for my followers.
But we should
Lovies.
find one.
You call your kids lovies, don't you? Or-
People call me Lovey all the time.
Oh,
or Lovies.
that's why I've heard. The lovies would be really cute.
Yeah,
The
I-
lovey-doveys.
Yeah. Oh my God. We were joking about naming our son Dove, and it'd be
No.
Dove Lovey. And then when it'd be his name, how they read your name backwards sometimes for random stuff, they'd be Lovey, Dove, Dovey.
Oh, Dove. Oh, that's cute.
We've had so many dumb jokes about that. But anyway, yeah. But so yes, Jeff was really, he was definitely the professional. He walked in, he immediately was like,
Yes.
who is everybody? I think he was to your point, very impressed with the set and
All
us
the
having
work.
the dream team, humble
The
brag.
structure.
Yeah, it is a nice group we have, and I think he was really impressed. But like Liat had said on the show, are you ready to not be in the driver's seat, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
And he was very vulnerable.
yeah,
I loved
oh,
that
so
episode.
good. It was so good, and everybody went crazy over it. And Shane is so funny. There was a part on their show where they were talking about, and this might segue into a question I'll ask you a little bit later, but what is it like working for Jeff, and then, or how is Shane, what's something, and then they kind of got into it, but it was in a cute, funny way.
Yeah.
Because Jeff wanted him to say something not embarrassing, but actually tell what his icks are. Or what,
Right.
Yeah. And
What's
Shane is just
annoying.
so great. He's
Yeah,
just-
no, but then Jeff was like, well, sometimes Shane forgets
That was
things.
funny.
And he's like, well, sometimes they're not important. He's like, sometimes they're important to me.
Right.
And
That
then,
was a good one.
their little banter was so cute. I
Yeah.
just loved it. I loved having them. But you know who was the most comfortable in front of the camera that we've had, honestly? Annalyn McCord.
That's who I was going to say, too.
You were
she's
gonna say
She's
that?
an
Yeah.
actress.
She was a natural. She walked
she's a
right
natural.
on.
There you go. Yeah.
She walked in.
gorgeous.
She took over the whole show.
Oh,
She's very self-aware and poised and,
Brilliant.
yes, brilliant. She had good things to say.
She was incredibly smart, incredibly
Feels
beautiful.
like she knows what her purpose is in this world, and so she just goes for it.
Totally.
Yeah.
that was a great podcast.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah, and she had been through so much trauma,
Yeah.
which it makes me cry when I realize how much trauma people have been through, and they have to overcome. They spend their whole life overcoming their difficulties in childhood. It's just heartbreaking to me. But I just love a great resilient person that like you're saying, like self-aware, knows her purpose, confident. Like she really has done so much work.
Yeah.
So she loves the camera. She was like loving it. She was not afraid. She's confident.
Oh, I wish I could be that way.
Well, maybe I'll drag you in more to my
No,
podcast.
thanks. I'm okay.
Okay, so let's see. Oh, what about any technical mishaps? Go ahead,
yes.
Seth.
Well, probably day one. I feel like day one is usually the most technical mishap, where we might have recorded and went for like a wonderful hour-and-a-half episode. We were all having like delicious lunch, chatting, and we're like, let's just go back and set it for the second episode, only to realize that our audio bins were empty.
Oh, no.
In layman's terms, that means they weren't recording on the mics.
Right. Or they were recording, but they were going to like no input where they could be saved. So fortunately, like we have like a wonderful sound engineer on our team. And so he was able to salvage the camera audio. But in the moment, it was truly like oh my God, this is our first day.
Yeah.
All is lost. We heard how, the issues with the previous crew.
Yeah.
We're
no better.
And it was like our best episode to date because it was Anna Lynn and she was so
great.
good.
Yeah.
But they were like, Kimberly, and they like pull me over and they're like, so we had a problem.
And we're always,
I can't imagine that thought you were thinking as you were approaching her and having to tell her.
Right. No, I mean, all of our thought immediately was we need to like tell Kimberly what is going on and everyone needs to be aware. We're very much about communication and let's solve this together. And I feel like that's how we kind of bonded right off the bat because Kimberly is the same way. She's like, let's solve this together. This is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not curing cancer. Nobody's dying. Worst case scenario, either Annalyn comes back or, we try and get 20 more minutes right now. And,
But it was a very pragmatic approach because I feel like there are so many different directions to go when something happens like that. And I've seen it all. And what happened that day was definitely optimal.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I just looked at the face of the person that's like, I'm going to fall on the sword. And like, I am like, he was so devastated.
Yes.
I'm like, there's nothing I need to say to this person. They feel like shit.
Yeah.
And I haven't, and the only thing that I took from that person at that moment was how much he cared. And so they're like, so then there was, and I was just like, I want that guy on my team because he cares so much.
Yeah.
And has such high expectations for himself. And he's devastated right now. And like, I literally was like, can I give you a hug? Because like, I was going to start crying because he was so devastated. It was devastating me.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so that was our first.
Yeah, we got the low point out of the way right after that. Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
But honestly, thank God I did not go off the handles and misbehave and do all the things that people could do because this team, let me tell you, damn, did they salvage that episode. They got it to like, I would say 98%, which was unbelievable. The episode ended up being unbelievable still. So anyway, that was our first experience in our technical difficulty and we got past it.
Yep.
Okay, I want to know, well, did we talk enough about your move? I think we kind of covered your move. Or do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Just that I'm going to move closer to the studio.
What's your timeline?
Ooh,
like
juicy question.
Also, tell people what you're leaving behind, a rent-controlled apartment.
I am leaving a rent-controlled apartment in West Hollywood on, well, I can say now because I won't be living there by the time this comes out, Sunset and Doheny. It's just a different city now. Like 7 restaurant bars that closed on Sunset. And I'm just ready for a change.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I didn't really have, and honestly, I was looking like maybe I go to Long Beach or closer to my brother's, or I really had no idea where I was going to go. And that was another thing Sherry had said to me, too, is that she didn't want to tell me where to go, but she said she couldn't see where I was headed, if that makes sense. Because I asked her, I was like, do you see me moving to Long Beach, or should I stay near West Hollywood, or... And she's like, nope, there's going to be a good surprise for you, and it's going to happen within the week. And it was. It was right when Kimberly and I told her what I was kind of going through in my current living situations, the bad parts of living in rent control. And she's like, you got to get out there. You have to move closer to the studio, which the studio's out here in Westlake. And I responded right back like, yes,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm seeing apartments tonight, and I hope the one that I see tonight is the one, and I could easily be out as next week.
I love that. You were kind of like, give me direction,
I needed a
and
sign.
she's like, look inward, and you had the direction already. So
And now she's
that's
so
great.
happy. And when I did tell her, Sherry, I was at her place on Tuesday. She hugged me, and she was like, "Yep, like good job." Because it's not like she led me. She kind of led me to it, but I made the decision in a way.
Yeah.
So that was great, and she was just so sweet about it because not having my parents, it's kind of a scary move because I'm on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Although of course I have my brothers, but it's not the same. And I'm gonna stop there before I say anything.
Don't start crying. Actually, if you do, it's okay. Like I said, yeah, and we have to tell them the one thing that reinforced it when you were like, "Oh my God, I'm making this big move," and then she sends me a picture of a homeless man sleeping right outside her doorstep, which, is one, of course you feel bad for these, of course, these human, I mean, it's heartbreaking. Let's just say that for sure. But it also could be dangerous because you have no idea who this person is and you're a single woman and it's nighttime. So what happened? You come home. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, no, and I live in a secure building. And I was actually home. I was going to leave to go get my mail, I think. And then I step out, and he's like rolled in a blanket that my neighbor had out, to dry.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared me because I didn't know what it was. Well, obviously I figured out it was a person, but he was like grunting. And mind you, he's wrapped up, so I don't know if he has a weapon or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my neighbors, he was leaving his apartment at the same time. So he, called the police, and they came, and the man just like stood up. He's like, yeah, I know. But I didn't know. And that's when I texted Kimberly. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to leave the city.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's already done.
As much as fun it is, but I have been there for almost 20 years. So
yeah. Okay. I have a question for you. What is like the biggest lesson learned or surprising thing that you guys have learned about podcasting? Because I know this is like a sharp right for everybody. Like you guys are like film people. By the way, if I did not say this enough times, I'm so grateful to have each of you, not just here today, but just in my life and in my business. Because
we are a pretty good team.
Oh my God.
I'm grateful too.
Me too. I'm very grateful. This is like my dream.
Yeah, and mine. So anyway, thank you again for being a part of my dream. And I hope to make your dreams come true with our great work. But what can you say? I mean, for people that have no idea about podcasting, what has surprised you? What have you learned? What's interesting? What's different? Anything?
I guess, one of the bigger obvious differences is I come from the scripted world where everything is like meticulously planned and thought out, down to the lines and how people will walk and what people will do. And I think what's fun about podcasting is just the spontaneity.
It's a shit show.
Yeah, that's my euphemism for shit show is spontaneity, improv, impromptu.
Ooh, I'm gonna write that down.
But it's good. You kind of like have an end goal with what you're going to be talking about, but you don't know how you're going to get there. And in
Wait,
film,
what's our goal for today? Oh, shit. I should have thought about this more. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Seth.
No, it's just in film, you also always have an end goal, but you know exactly how you're going to get there in the scene. Mm-hmm. And here it's just a little more meandering and loose and fun and casual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that stress you out or you're okay with it?
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm very rarely stressed.
Oh, that's
I
great.
love that.
Me too.
I love that energy.
I think I'm just constantly operating at like a level of exhaustion, and that's why I always appear unstressed.
What was it? Something really funny the other day. I was talking to you.
Kimberly asked me, she was like, after we did a walkthrough of her space, like the blank warehouse, the studio, and she texted me later and she was like, girl, are you okay? You seemed tired. Is everything all right? And I was like, you're going to learn about me. Mm-hmm. My excited and ecstatic face is the same as my tired face, is the same as my stressed and my relaxed face.
That's so funny.
I'm pretty one note
Which is
externally.
So funny to me.
Funny.
Wait, is that the same as your resting bitch face?
Yes.
Oh, God. See, now
I've
that
got
actually,
a good poker face.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit uncomfortable then because I'm like, I can't read
Then you won't be able to read them.
So then if you're like hating something, I can't like look at you and like interpret. But like maybe there's one, I'm going to have to really unpack your expressions.
Yeah,
like maybe you do like
physical
a weird
cues. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be something I'm going to be able to pick up on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Or I'll talk to your boyfriend and like figure out what he knows.
Greg knows. Greg can read me.
Okay, he can? Okay, so
Well,
he's got to.
he'll
How
be
long
able
have you
to
been with
tell.
him?
It'll be 7 years in July.
Oh my
Nice.
God.
I
Wow.
know, yeah. We've
How
been living
amazing.
together for almost 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Do
met
you
in New York.
Okay.
And you guys both moved out here together?
I was actually living in LA full time.
Okay.
And I was working on a show in New York. And we met at the beginning of the 6-month stint that I was there, just as a late night grinder hookup, because I didn't even live in New York, so we weren't
so you weren't
dating.
expecting anything.
And we just kind of kept in touch, kept seeing each other. And at the end of the 6 months, like around Thanksgiving, I moved back, and we were like, oh, this is actually something. And we were long distance for a year before Greg moved to LA.
Oh, wow.
He's a New Yorker, born and raised.
Wow,
and
you got him out here.
Yeah.
Aw.
I think he, like me, was kind of like, these will be my LA years. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, got it.
But after you're here for a few years, it makes sense.
I'm here
Like, we're
nervous
here to
about
stay.
moving like 20
Mhm.
miles, and you guys
Yeah.
live cross country.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
like barometer for like it's not that
Geographical
crazy.
change can be really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And you're in Hollywood, so.
Yeah, in Hollywood, which is convenient. I feel like being from New York, it's a little easier to get your bearings in a place where you
That's
can
true.
walk places.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, for sure. I always say it
I
takes
will
people
miss
like a
that.
year,
Yeah.
like to adjust, to fully acclimate to
Definitely.
LA. Because when I was in business school, somebody else from the East Coast made this observation, so I cannot take credit, but I think it's really true. Is that like you just said, like the walkable thing?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no real like city center in LA,
No, there isn't.
and everybody's largely in their cars for the most
Mhm.
part.
Yeah.
So outside of like whatever you're doing for your work, which is why a lot of people are here, especially in your industry or our industry, whatever, entertainment, like it's not that easy to just like come across
No.
people and meet them.
Nope, it's not. I never went like east of La Brea. There's that
Mhm.
joke, or like the other side of the 405.
Right.
And then the South Bay, I've never been out there. No, I have. I'm just kidding. But, just like everything is just so far.
Yeah,
it seems
everything's
like.
spread
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their cars. I remember like my sister and I, we were like in our, young 20s, and we were starting to hit up the bar scene and do all the things. And we were like so confused because we're like, this is so weird. No one's like approaching us to dance or to hit on us or and we were like cute, we
of
were cute
course.
girls. And it was just bizarre because, we were in San Diego before that, and we were always having fun with whoever we met,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
us.
LA
Like,
is very different.
and
in
it's
that
just
scene.
people would show up to the clubs, I remember, like with their own crew.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
whether or not they had a table, I mean, obviously that's a whole different thing. But like, yeah, it's just a different city. But like, once you find your people, like you're good. But it does take time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I always say everybody comes to LA and they're depressed for the first year. Like
So
I
that's
tell
true,
everybody
yeah.
that.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I know, right? It's good. Okay. So I want to ask you, well, do you want to talk about any cool projects you're working on in the film world right now? Are you at liberty to share?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yay.
We are. I'm trying to think of what I should talk about. We're probably, Lionsgate is making movies. A lot of the town feels like it slowed down a little bit, but Lionsgate has kind of kept going, which is fun.
That's awesome.
Why has the town slowed down? Is this some...
I think we're still in the middle of like the post-strike slump.
Okay.
The kind of like contraction in the industry that happened after the writer's strike and the other strikes. A lot of media companies are consolidating. They're spending less money on risks, like fewer pilots. Yeah, it just
Wow.
feels like there's less that's being greenlit, I would say. People are being a
Wow,
little more
that's
fiscally conscious.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what are things? So Lionsgate is busy out in Santa Monica, right? That's where they're based.
Yeah.
And so what are some fun things you're working on that you can share?
Well, today is the premiere of Freaky Tales, which is a movie that I worked on when in my former job at E1. E1 is the company that I was at before Lionsgate that got bought by Lionsgate last year. So Freaky Tales comes out today. It has Pedro Pascal as one of the lead roles. We have the next...
Is he as dreamy?
He is dreamy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The movie is shot all in Oakland.
Okay.
It's Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden are the directors. And it's just a really fun time. Check out the trailer.
Ooh,
Sounds good.
hot plug.
Yep.
I'm down. What is it about?
It is about Oakland in the 80s, and it weaves like real history and real basketball history with like racial issues that were going on in Oakland at the time. But it has a lot of like nostalgia for 80s movies like at its heart.
Oh,
It's kind of
cool.
hard to like pitch in a log line because it's a movie told in 5 chapters, so it's like 5 different stories.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's worth watching.
Cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I want to watch that with like maybe an adult beverage.
Yes, definitely an adult beverage.
Okay.
And it's
Are you going to go
very
out and
violent.
watch it? Oh, it is.
Just a warning, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Do you go out and watch the movies you've worked on?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, of
Because I
course,
love to
'cause
see
it's
it with an
supporting it.
audience.
And
yeah.
that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Do you get to do like the sexy premiere stuff? Any of that fun stuff?
Sometimes. I haven't been to a premiere in a while. But yeah, I do enjoy a good premiere.
Speaking
this one wasn't
of premieres, and
Mhm.
I don't want to get this wrong. Let me make sure I get this correct. So I'm going to just check this. Let me fact check myself before I speak. Speaking of awesome people in our company, we have to give a big shout out to Jason Harriton.
Yes.
And a huge congratulations. So he is our additional head producer, brought in Seth, brought in everybody else that works on the production side. And he's amazing. And I'm going to have him on my show too, because he's one of those guys that he's so amazing and you don't realize how amazing he is until like the more you get to know him and it like comes out like in small doses. I love people like that, by the way. That's like my favorite thing, when you don't know that somebody's as amazing as they are. Cause
Yeah,
they don't, like,
Jason doesn't advertise how cool he is.
like
Oh,
he's like
fun.
really big. So he's produced over like 1,000 Netflix shows. And he has recently, they are in New York, him and Melissa. Shout out, Melissa. I hope that I can beat you at tennis next time we play together. We play tennis all the time, his wife and I. But his show is Good Night and Good Luck, which opened on Broadway. And it is the Broadway adaptation of the movie. And it's with George Clooney and a bunch of other big people, because I see J-Lo. I don't know who else, but it's a bunch of big people, right? There's Cindy Crawford on the red carpet.
Yeah, had a pretty star-studded opening night.
That's amazing. He
Yeah.
did dye his hair. Did you notice?
Who?
George Clooney. He's no longer
Oh.
Silver Fox.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Oh.
that.
His
I guess
hair
I
is
should be.
brunette. That's
Oh.
how I even like knew of the opening, because
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him and his hair, and I was like,
And
"What is he
you're
doing?"
like, "Why?"
And then I started looking into why.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's like actually performing it, right? Like he's in
Yeah,
there.
yes.
That's so crazy.
How fun.
Yeah, it's so fun and so neat. So yeah, shout out to Jason. Congratulations on that. Apparently it's already blown away like every box office. Like just
Getting really good critic response.
that's
yeah.
so spectacular. So we'll have to have him on too and like make him talk about himself, because
Yeah.
he's a really, really great guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then one other thing I wanted to ask you, the two of you, what are your guilty pleasure TV shows that you like?
Oh, I'm a huge Bravo fan. All the Housewives, everything that's essentially on
Yeah.
Bravo.
I don't believe in guilt.
Oh, I like that
Perfect. I feel
answer.
better.
Wait, we all feel so much. I feel so seen.
Yeah.
And I still watch the Teen Mom franchise. Now they're all having grandkids. No, I mean, all reality TV I'm a fan of.
Wow.
I know.
I don't think that I've seen a full episode of reality TV in its entirety.
No way.
But the show that we most recently watched was The Residence on Netflix.
Oh,
It's
yes,
the,
I started
the new
that too.
Shondaland show. And it's fantastic. Yeah, it's wonderful.
What is it about? I haven't watched it.
It's kind of like Clue, but set in the White
Oh.
House.
Oh.
And Uzo Aduba
Yes.
from Orange is the New Black plays a detective consultant to the DC police. And so she shows up on the case to solve this murder that took place during a state dinner in the White House. So they keep revisiting the same night over and over.
Oh,
and it's
fun.
It's just really fun. It has Kylie
Cool.
Minogue in it.
no way.
She's performing at the state dinner, so then she's in
Oh.
every episode, and you're just constantly hearing Kylie. It's really fun.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I totally want to watch that.
It's great.
The Residence?
The Residence on
Okay.
Netflix.
I
on
was
Netflix.
confusing that with the show with Sterling K. Brown, who's also the bodyguard of the president. And he
Oh.
gets murdered in the first episode, so it goes back to, pinpointing all that. So that's what I was confusing it with,
Yeah.
but I forget what the name of now.
A lot of murders in the White House.
Okay, and then so what juicy Bravo shows are out there that we should be watching?
I mean, I guess I just watch all the Housewives, so all of and I think what's juicier is them trying to get a Housewives in Calabasas, I heard.
Oh yeah, we have a couple friends that have been approached. Actually, and
that's
they've
how I heard.
declined. Okay, yeah, they've
I'm not saying that
declined.
they've even hired or greenlit anything, but it's interesting that I heard that conversation too. So I thought that was kind of cool that they're still trying to figure out other seasons. But I guess the juiciest part of them is like 3 of them have been in jail now.
Oh,
Wow. That's bad.
Kind of sad.
Yeah.
What show do you think I should start with? If I'm going to dip my toes into reality TV, where should I start?
I guess if you in the Bravo world, I would have to say probably start with the Beverly Hills, just because we're here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
close to home.
All of them are great. Atlanta's hilarious. I know New York they're going to bring back, but the early seasons of New York were great. Potomac's awesome. OC's great. I mean, they're all really great.
Yeah.
I love them all.
I like myself OC and Beverly Hills just because I feel like I know where they are and I can relate. Yeah. And I've like met some of them or seen some of them and whatever. It just feels like close to home kind of thing. But I don't know. I hate to say this, but I also feel like Bravo, they're constantly recycling the same women.
Yeah.
And I don't really, I mean, part of me understands it and part of me doesn't. I think part of it is like the audience is used to them.
They're like, they have a cult following.
Yeah, they already have a following, which is like a big thing now, right? But I'm like, there's so many entertaining, interesting housewives out there that I know. Like, I could start naming them, and they are entertaining, and they, honey, are living the life,
Yes.
So I don't really, that's like my one thing.
Coincidentally, none of them are even really housewives. Like, they're all single, essentially.
Yeah.
Or have gotten divorced if they came into the series married.
Yeah, well, a lot of them, I think the essence started off one way, but I think what happened over time is that a lot of these women realize, holy shit, I'm famous and I can make money if I just launch anything. And so they all kind of became entrepreneurs. And so now you see more and more of that, which I think is brilliant and wonderful.
Yes, I agree.
Right? So, yeah. Okay, my last question is, what is it like working with me? Tell the people, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Can you close your ears? No, just kidding.
Be honest.
You're amazing. I love working with you. I feel like our personalities mesh really well. You're passionate and fun, and I love that. I'm not ever, not that I would say scared, but you're not intimidating. You're easy to work with. You're amazing. And I just love your passion. You're so excited about this business, and I love it just as much. So it's nice to be with a boss that loves what they do, loves what they launched.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love seeing your dream come true.
Oh my God, thank you.
I mean, I've said it before, but I'm just continuously impressed because I feel like you
especially
balance.
with 3 kids, you have to mention
just
3 kids.
Whenever you are walking me through a process, it's just so clear how in it you are and how detail oriented you are. But you're also very big picture, and I feel like those 2 things don't often go hand in hand in the same person. So it's just amazing to me that you're both big picture, dreamer, growing things, but at the same time, nitty gritty in the weeds, subtitling line by line manually an episode just because you really care about what the viewers are seeing down to that granular level, which is impressive.
I mean, perfect example, your pod in studio, you're launching podcasts for others and you have your own pod. That's just a perfect example.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I was thinking maybe some more feedback, a little bit of you could be a little more this or that.
And the fact that you have 3 kids, which I think it's so funny how, I don't know how you do it. You're always available, text message wise. You and I always text on odd hours, weekends. You're always available.
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. But you guys know I adore you both, so you're making me blush. But no, I appreciate that. And yeah, I think it's just about you gotta love what you're doing. I just want it to be a takeaway for folks out there. If you're miserable in your job, I have told employees of mine, in past jobs where I was, the boss or whatever. But if you're miserable, don't settle.
Yeah, I wish I would have learned that earlier in my career.
Go somewhere else. Just try something different. And I know that's so much easier said than done, 1,000%. And I do understand that. And you need your income, but come up with a plan then. Just my thing is don't let life pass you by and be complacent because it's easy and comfortable and then be that person sitting around complaining.
Right.
It's for what? For what?
Yeah.
Come on, we're young, we're vibrant, we're healthy. Go make the most of your life. Go enjoy. I don't know. I just feel there's so many ways to make money. Especially, who this is especially true for? If you are somebody that's been in your job for, say, 10 years in your industry, and you're just in a company that for whatever reason, maybe the founder sucks, maybe your boss sucks, and you can't change those things, you do realize you have your own experience, right? You have skills. And you can go to other companies that need those skills. So I don't know. That's my thing is like, I always want to surround myself with people that are really like enjoying themselves, you know, like, why not? We can be miserable working or we can have a blast working. We might as well have a blast. I mean,
yeah, that's my perspective within the film industry too, is we're all working such long hours and giving everything our 110%. So it's not worth it unless you're enjoying who you're around with 14 hours a day.
You guys, I had a prospective client. This is a little bit of like behind the scenes tea about the way I vet my clients and the people that work with me. But like this girl comes on this call. I met her at Super Bowl. She comes on the call. I'm not going to name names, obviously. But from the moment she was on the Zoom, I looked at her face and I'm like, are you okay?
Oh, no.
I didn't even talk. I could just see like it, but it was like, I could just see shit. I ended up telling her like, you have bad energy. But I didn't say it. I didn't.
Of course you didn't say it like
just
that.
So you know, like it ended up where she was texting me a big thank you later. So I just want to make that clear. I wasn't going in on her at all. It's just that she was having a hard time in her career. And she was not in a good place. And
got it.
I felt bad for her. And so I'm like, okay, this went from me being like essentially like going into like a prospective client, like almost sales pitch, right? Where I could gain a client, to me like almost like life coaching her. Because I'm like, you just seem really unhappy and stressed out. Have you considered like tweaking your career or going into a different industry? And like,
she probably had no idea she was giving that off.
And we've all been in that. We've all been in that spot. That's why I want to talk about that too, is like, it's not all like roses. The whole journey is like, it's fucking hard what we all have, like, just as you go through life, but being willing to make a change. Like if it's not working for you, like fucking change it. That's what I say.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? So anyway, so that's kind of that. Well, thank you. Well, and I appreciate both of you guys so much because these guys are super talented. I cannot say that enough. Do not try and steal my people. By the way.
She's going to block our names off.
Yeah, I'm going to have to like gatekeep my people. They're mine. They're my excellent people.
I'm moving for you. So.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my God. That makes me blush. But anyway, so how are you feeling now? Are you feeling more relaxed now that we're
a little bit, yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
She said that she gets anxious about things.
Yes, in general. And then also just, I've never done like a podcast about myself. So
right. Yeah. I think people get uncomfortable when they have to talk about themselves and they're used to being the behind the scenes person.
Exactly.
Right?
Totally. I feel like it's me as someone who's never been on the podcast, it's just like that instinct to be a self-curator. And be like, this is how I'm going to come off, and then you overthink things.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah, I forgot about all
like
that. I don't do any of that anymore.
Maybe we'll get to that place at some point.
Hopefully.
Here's the thing, okay, and
Thanks.
I'm so glad you're both sharing your like being vulnerable too about that, because this is something I see all the time, and I just want to also let everybody know. You would be shocked at how little people give a fuck about you. And that is
true.
The gods. I mean, I really mean that. Like it took so much guts and courage for me to, launch a podcast and to put myself out there and have a public Instagram when I came from like a very corporate buttoned up background where you're not allowed to have those things. And I thought, oh my God, the second I start putting out content or whatever it is, people are going to start talking about me. They're going to care. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't. They're like, okay, cool. If there's something, first of all, if they see something they don't like, my thing is like, if there's something I put out that you don't like, you can unfollow me. You cannot consume my content.
Right.
Like, it's free.
Yeah.
So, I really don't care. But my whole thing, a big underpinning, and this is really important, I think it is so important for people to lean into being their most authentic version of who they are. Bottom line, that is the best content creator, and that's the best human. And so one of my goals in my life is like, I want people to feel encouraged and comfortable in their own skin, because only then are they going to really like shine and like give you their best. And like, that's why I'm always trying to get people to feel like comfortable and confident and like relaxed and things like that, because, you can only be who you are, and we should all just like lean into it, because other people like it. They like when you're authentic. They prefer it because they can connect with you more,
Right. No, that's great advice.
And the brands we build, right? Like when
Yes.
we're sitting there curating and building brands with people, we purposely do it in a way, like we have a method. It's our discovery, part of our discovery process. But like our method is all geared towards, who are you? Just who are you? What do you do outside of whatever you think you're going to talk about? Like, oh, you play tennis. great. Tell me about that. Oh, you're very religious. You're faith-based. Okay,
Spiritual,
cool. Right? Like, oh, you love to, you're a marathoner. Whatever your thing is that you're interested in, like, that's interesting. It makes up who you are. So I love bringing in people's like authentic spirit into their brands, because I just feel like it elevates them. It gets them more confident. And like, then they, you see them shine, and you see them like, relishing in who they are. And it's just like, there's nothing better. I just love it. It's just like my favorite thing ever. But anyway, thank you for,
You're very good at it.
no,
Yes, you
well,
are.
thank you. Well, thank you for joining me. Congratulations on your very first podcast. I don't think
Thank
it was that
you.
bad.
Okay, good. Thanks.
I mean, like,
No, I
it
agree.
wasn't
Yeah,
scary,
it wasn't scary.
right?
No,
Like, it's been fine.
would do it again.
Yes,
10 out of 10.
great.
There he goes.
Because I want you
Maybe we
guys
launch
to
this
Career
podcast.
liftoff.
Oh, wait. One more question. I did forget to ask that. I did think on that note. That was my final question. Thank you for that. If you were to launch a podcast, what would it be about, or what would it look like? Like solo, interview, this kind of niche? Any thoughts there?
Well, mine would be lame. It'd be like celebrity gossip,
Mm.
Okay.
but like get into real like celebrity
Like
gossip.
go deep into the celeb.
Exactly.
That's not lame. That's like
No,
a
I like
huge
that.
popular niche.
Yeah, I just love it. I don't know why. It could mainly be
It's
not
fascinating.
true or anything. It's just nice to hear other people's drama.
Totally.
That's
Makes sense,
fun.
yeah.
That's like a fun. That's such a
I
fun
mean, I'm not
niche.
like
Yeah.
it should be like saving like
Well, there's so much to go into there as well. So
Exactly,
there's so
yeah.
much material.
Yeah, endless content.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
good
for
point.
sure.
Okay, good. How about you?
I think I would do an interview show like with writers, like my favorite TV or film
Ooh.
writers.
So funny the difference
yeah.
between us too.
Well, some of my favorite jobs have been in writers' rooms. Just hearing writers talk about story and breaking
Oh,
story and
I
how
love
to
that
construct
too.
story. So I think I'd like that.
Wow, that's
How about
so
yourself?
Cool.
Since you have one.
Since I have one, I just talk about whatever the fuck I want. I like to talk about mindset. I want to inspire and encourage people. I like to entertain people too with like whatever the hell's going on. I've talked about IVF on my podcast, and that journey, it was a journey I never thought I'd be on. And we talk about my dead mom. We talk about business stuff. Like I've been a CEO of a big company. I have a heavy business background, so I can always speak into that, leadership stuff like that.
I love it.
And like my kids and our antics, and just, I don't try and curate myself. I did start the show where it was more curated and like buttoned up and like, let me coach you about this business topic. And that did well. That content did well. But the truth is, like, it's after doing it for like 5 years, you're like, you get sick of doing the same old thing. So I just show up and I just start freestyling.
That's great.
I'm
I had
totally
no idea.
unfiltered.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I just, you know what it is? It's almost like this compulsion where I'm like, it's like an itch I have to scratch. And I'm like, I have to tell everybody about this, or I have to talk about this. And then I cannot stop. It will repeat in my head. And then I have to literally just compulsively like vomit onto my audience respectfully and with love.
How long have
and
you been
that's it.
podcasting?
It started in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Like a pandemic
So,
response?
Yeah, a pandemic response.
Bobby, how fun.
Yeah,
Wow.
May 2020. So we're coming up on 5 years. Crazy. It hasn't been consistent because it started off as my side hustle,
Yeah.
which is a good teaser for those of you listening. By the way, I tease this a little bit, but now that this is like my full hustle, the show is going to be completely different in terms of more content, more consistent content, more guests, more video, all of the things, because it started off audio. And I really haven't done a ton of video because, like, if it's not high quality, I don't like to put it out.
Right.
So once our studio's up and going in mid-May,
I know, that's
it's
gonna
going to
be
be,
amazing.
hopefully I
Game
can,
changer.
yeah, and hopefully I can
Who
have you
would-
guys on more.
Who is your who would you like to interview? Like who's out
Oh
there?
yeah,
that you
I
would
wanted to
love?
ask you guys that too. You stole my line.
Well, because you just said you were going to add interviews to your pod.
I just,
so-
you know what? I want fun, interesting guests. I actually have a laundry list. So I have a lot of passion. I like to hear people's stories of like their success stories, because I think there's so much focus on like, oh, look at them in the private jet, or look at their
Right.
fancy house, or look at their Rolls Royce. Like, you don't even know what the hell they went through to get it.
No,
And
I agree.
I think that's the more interesting, more inspiring part of it. Like, whenever you talk to these really successful people, like Liat's husband, Trevor, they are going to, the first thing they're going to start talking to you about, they're not going to talk to you about their floor seats at the LA, whatever sports. They're not going to brag. They don't need to. They're going to start telling you about their failures. You know, like when we had Dar Man on, that was so interesting. So I just,
Yeah.
I love hearing people's stories. So I have a laundry list of like really juicy guests that are like really successful humans. A lot of them are not people that are known, but like their stories are incredible stories.
That's all that it's about.
Yeah. So plus we've got some fun, famous friends and things like that. But I'm not going to name names yet because we'll tease it. But how about you guys? If you were to interview one person, final question. I know I keep saying that.
Mine will always be Oprah.
Oprah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
It's
totally hang out with her. Yeah.
Coming from having nothing, building her brand,
Yeah.
everything about her.
I would love to hear her. I would love to talk to her.
Oprah's a good
And
one.
go to Montecito.
Yeah. And make jam with Megan. Just kidding.
I don't know, maybe John Cameron Mitchell, just because he's someone who's like created some of my favorite art.
I have no
he's, like,
idea who
from
that
New
is.
neither.
Can you?
Hedwig and the Angry Inch. He created that.
Is that a movie?
It's a movie. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I'm like.
Like queer East Village. A lot of my like creative pursuits kind of center around like queer content and queer authors, and I just have
'Cause
like
you
a
can
passion for
relate.
gay stories. Yeah, I can relate.
You can relate.
And I grew up without any of it. I grew up very
okay.
sheltered in small town PA.
Oh, wow.
I feel like most of the movies that I saw were like well into like my 20s and 30s. Because I grew up without it, I feel like I'm constantly searching for that and like searching for our like queer origin stories. So
Yeah, like because you struggled, which I feel like this could be a whole separate episode we have with you. But you struggled kind of quietly and on your own, and then so then to find a community where you're like, wait, you had a similar struggle.
Right.
What was that like for you?
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like validation too.
Yeah, queer storytelling. That's my passion.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
good.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love learning all this about you.
I know,
Yeah.
me too.
I'm gay, just FYI.
Yeah, well, I want to meet your boyfriend, but that's.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we need a little fun dinner.
I know.
And then Yvette needs a boyfriend, right?
Yes.
Double date, triple
I
date.
do.
Yeah, we'll
What
do
is
it.
your? Okay, let's do a shout out for a boyfriend. What does he look like?
Oh, I'm like, shout out. Actually, another thing Sherry said, she told me August was going to be the
Your boyfriend
timing to be open to meeting someone. And she did tell me that which I need to do, to write down exactly what I want because I was going to get it.
Okay, so we need to get really clear about your boyfriend
So
profile.
you're going to have to help me with that.
Okay, and then you'll come back and you can share and we can unpack that for a
And
minute.
then let's hope in August,
Okay.
Yeah.
timing-wise, right?
People don't know if people can't apply to be your boyfriend. They don't know you exist. So we have to like put these things out there, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, thank you for joining me in studio. Not our studio, but a great studio.
Yes.
So, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you entertaining me and our listeners and putting yourselves out there. I know you were both
Thank
kind
you.
of nervous, but you did great.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you. All right, that is it for today. Now, as you know, some of our best conversations actually happen after the show. So I want you to find me on Instagram at Kimberly Lovey and let me know your thoughts about today's show. You can screenshot this episode and let us know what your biggest takeaway was and tag me at Kimberly Lovey and we can share it on our stories. I will see you again, same time, same place next week.